So let me say this. If you are into Jeeps and you have that rubber ducky, then you know that today's Spotlight brand is certainly well versed in this culture. We're talking, of course, about Alpine and the multiple solutions that they have to upgrade the sound system in your Jeep platform. Today, we've got their product specialist, Eric Brooks, joining us, and I'm going to grill him on just how cool these kits actually are. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Alpine for Jeeps and trucks. And it starts now. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and on the menu today is Alpine. And you know, when it comes to Jeeps and trucks, Alpine has certainly made its footprint very apparent for coming out with some really cool and unique application-specific solutions for the Jeep enthusiast. Now, as mentioned, we have our product specialist, Eric Brooks, that's joining us. Eric, welcome to the show. And you know what? Can you give us a glimpse as to what we're going to be discussing on today's Connected?
Hey, Ben, thanks for having me. Today, we're going to talk about our Jeep head units, the i509, WRA, JL, and JK. And we might even dive into some of the sound systems that we have that are specific to Jeep, too.
All right, we're going to get deep into Jeep with Alpine. But first, a quick message from our partner, SiriusXM, reminding you how such a great add-on sale it always is. And when we come back, we've got Eric Brooks from Alpine. Stay tuned. Don't you dare go away.
Hi, Paul Truman here with SiriusXM. We reached out to some of our partners in the industry, and here's what they had to say.
I can't say more or enough about just what it means to have our unit working with SiriusXM. It's like we're there now.
The SiriusXM service is something consumers want, right? So it's Paul.
That allows a consumer to listen to either podcasts, entertainment, sports, all at their fingertips. It's all about engagement, and that's what SiriusXM provides.
SiriusXM is a huge component in a vehicle nowadays. Consumers expect that technology to be available both in our OEM system as well as the aftermarket upgrades that they're applying to their vehicle.
Alpine and SiriusXM, through our electronics, are able to offer the consumer on the aftermarket side SiriusXM 360L, which is an expanded platform for SiriusXM. And it's really been a beneficial relationship for us with SiriusXM.
As a dealer, just remember, we don't compete with anybody else. We are absolutely one of the best profitability accessories you can add to any head unit that is SiriusXM ready.
All right, welcome back to the show. As mentioned, we're talking Alpine in the Jeep space. Of course, we've got our guest, Eric Brooks, standing by. Now, Eric, I want to start this conversation by establishing that, there's a lot of products being flooded into the market for this Jeep category. Everybody knows, we've seen the stats. Jeep is a big potential market. So for dealers that haven't caught wind of this, hello, Jeep is here, and there are some great products coming to you from Alpine. But before we talk about the products, I'd like to get to understand a little bit more about Alpine's involvement and support of this entire Jeep culture. Like, is Alpine just selling products, or is there a vested interest in seeing this market grow?
Hey, Ben, that's a great question. So Alpine, if you look at what we do in the marketplace with Jeep, we actually invest heavily into this market. We go to multiple huge Jeep events a year. We have a truck, an event trailer that bring out all the big dog and pony show. And we really get one-on-one FaceTime with the Jeep consumer, right? Folks that own Jeeps, that live that lifestyle. We want to understand what makes them tick, what features they're looking for in their products, and how we can best create solutions to really solve the issues that they face day to day in their vehicle.
So when you're at these events, Eric, for those that haven't attended like one of these bigger Jeep events, can you give us a quick rundown of, what are you doing from a brand perspective, and what are you hearing from some of these customers that are coming to your booth and looking for these solutions?
Yeah, Ben. So at these events, we actually partner with a local dealer, and they bring product to sell, and they actually do installations on site. So what it allows us to do is really discuss with the consumer some of the challenges that they're facing, some of the things that they want to solve in their vehicle, whether it's connectivity through a head unit, better sound through a head unit or speakers, or overall better impact in their system through subwoofers and different things that we have that we can provide for them at these events. And really talking one-on-one with folks, whether they're integrating into an OEM amplified system or they're replacing everything in their Jeep, it really gives us an opportunity to see what these folks are doing with their vehicles, what direction the market is going, and it helps us in development of new products for this category and for other categories in general.
Now that, Eric, for me is very critical because so far too often we have kind of Me Too brands out there. They're just trying to get a share, of this hype, which is this Jeep category. But Alpine's taking a step above, being involved, talking to the customer. But you guys do have a little bit of an edge, and I want to bring that up right now because Alpine has a unique relationship with Jeep as a manufacturer when it comes to OEM equipment, doesn't it?
Yeah, Ben, we actually manufacture the premium sound system for the Jeeps. So what's great about it is we really have gotten an understanding of when tying in our head unit, the I-509, WRA, JK, and JL, tying it into that factory amplified system. It is amazing the increase in performance out of those factory sound systems just by adding our head unit. And then you can go the next step further in replacing everything. But just the understanding that comes with our insight into that OEM relationship really does help us on the aftermarket.
All right, I think a great place to start here, Eric, is the source, for lack of a better term. And of course, we're talking Alpine, so there are some unique source units here. Now, viewer, I want you to understand something. These are application specific source units that Alpine has developed specifically for the Jeep platform. So I'm going to let Eric kind of break that down, and we're going to really dive into some of the unique features that really make it stand out from just, any old source unit on the market that you kind of make fit. So let's hear what Alpine has to say when it comes to their application specific source units.
Yeah, Ben. So what's great about this platform is the features that are in our other head units, the i509, the 511, the 507. We have all the same features in the Jeep units, right? But the chassis, the screens, the bezels, everything is developed specifically for that vehicle. So we're not just taking another unit and making it fit here. It was actually developed from the ground up for these vehicles. So that's really a great thing. Then the other thing about it is the way that we can manipulate the sound through the head unit to really make it sound its best in the vehicle is a real plus too. Wireless CarPlay and Android Auto is a huge ability to add additional interface and technologies to these vehicles. We have the capability to, defeat the weather, if you will. If you get caught with your top off, you can not worry about your unit being damaged because of weather, because it's weatherized. So there are things like this that go into this product that make it sound great, make it work great, and make it last in the Jeep environment.
All right, Eric. So as we're learning about these units, there's really two items here that I've written down. I really want to dive in a little bit deeper. Let's first talk about what's in the box. So these are not just a regular source unit. There are multiple items that come in the box to support what you say is that plug and play experience. So let's talk about what's in the box and how everything is really made specifically for this application.
Yeah, great question, Ben. So what comes in the box of the i509 WRA-JK, for example, there is a screen, a chassis, all of the pre-harnessed wiring with the Jeep specific plugs on it, right? So everything plugs right in. There's a Maestro in the box. So you program that to the vehicle and the head unit for steering wheel controls and all of your data to come up on the screen. There's also your Bluetooth mic, a nav antenna, so you get really accurate navigation services through CarPlay and Android Auto. So there are all those things that come in the box, as well as this beautiful bezel with high premium buttons and cosmetic that really finish off the system and make it look and work great in the Jeep. And then on the JL, we had an additional piece, which is the backup camera retention for that factory backup camera that those vehicles come with, so we can integrate and keep that solution for the consumer.
So you heard it from Eric. Everything you need to install this into your vehicle is there. There's a little bit of programming with the Maestro, which isn't very complicated. And the key takeaway here is that you get full retention and more from an interface experience once this unit is installed. Now, a couple things I want to double check. So does this also have SiriusXM ready capability? And are there any features that actually, it's not the features I want to know. What is the sound performance that we get? Because, this is an Alpine unit, and you mentioned earlier that just simply by changing the source unit, you're going to see a significant gain as far as sound performance.
Yeah, Ben. So you may know SiriusXM and Alpine have a very great working relationship, and we actually have the first units on the market for the aftermarket that have SiriusXM 360L. So you can have standard satellite-based SiriusXM connectivity with this, and you can also have expanded features through the streaming service that SiriusXM 360L provide. So those are some great features and add-ons for the consumer with these Jeeps. The other thing is sound. Listen, there are a few really key behind the scene things that happen within these units that provide exceptional sound quality. So when you hear our i507, 509, 511 versus other products out there, you notice a really great distinctive sound from them. Well, the i509, WRA, JK, and JL are no different. Those same key components within the product that make them sound so great and perform so well are in these products too. So you're going to get exceptional sound quality with control through parametric equalization, crossover, selectable crossover points, slopes, all that, as well as time correction in these units.
All right, we're going to move on to step 2 of our conversation. So now we have our source unit taken care of. But let's say you're a customer that, well, you demand more. Well, the obvious next upgrade here is to now go beyond the source unit and start upgrading the entire sound system. By that, I mean speakers, amps, and subs. So don't worry, because Alpine's got you covered in this arena as well. Let's walk through, Eric, quickly what the next step would be for dealers that, or not dealers, but consumers that want that, next level sound.
So, Ben, as you know, we make a wide range of universal products. So, if you have someone that's looking to do something really crazy and unique for their vehicle, they can do that. But we have Jeep specific solutions that can really give great detailed sound and incredible output without taking up any space in the Jeep, which is very important because those vehicles have very limited space. So we have a couple of products, the PSS 22WRA, which is made for the JK Jeep. So from 07 out to 2017, 2018, this unit will fit in your four-door Jeep. It has speakers that replace all of the factory locations with weather-resistant speakers. There are bridges and different application-specific brackets so that these speakers will fit in no matter what kind of Jeep you have. If you have a tweeter that sits up high on the dash or one that sits flat, we have all the adapters for that. And everything plugs right in, and it's weather resistant. These speakers are made to fit and work exceptionally in very small airspaces. So the boxes in the Jeep in the front dash or that sound bar that has limited airspace, they're going to get great sound performance out of those. We have a couple of weather resistant amplifiers in these. They tuck up in the dash in the factory amp location. You never even see them, but they give great performance. And then we have a 10-inch subwoofer that mounts under the passenger seat in the vehicle that gives you awesome output, whether the top is on or off, your doors are on and off. You don't lose any bass with this subwoofer and you take up no space. So it's a great solution for Jeep customers that want exceptional sound. And then we also have a system for the JL, the PX, what is it? It's a PSS, PSS 24WRA. So this is one that's created specifically for the JL and the JT, the Gladiator. So the Wrangler or the Gladiator, we have a sound system for you. Speaker replacement all the way around, a 4-channel amp, and a powered self-contained 8-inch subwoofer that go underneath the passenger seat. So you have a 4-channel amp there and a subwoofer there, ready to rock and roll in your Jeep. Again, great output, great sound without losing any space in your vehicle.
Well, it certainly feels like Alpine has thought of everything while maintaining that mandate to not lose any extra space, because you're right, Eric, there is not a whole lot of space. And the Jeepers I know, man, they love loading up their vehicle for their adventures. So one question that does come to mind, however, is a scalability question. By that, I mean, are these systems all inclusive, or is it possible for a customer to kind of do one step at a time? For example, maybe start with the front speakers, then maybe add the bridge speakers, and then add a sub at a later date.
That's a great question, Ben. And yes, these products are all available a la carte. So you could buy the amps, you could buy the speakers, you could buy the sub, you could buy it all separately. The benefit of buying it in the system is all the wiring, all the T harnesses, everything that you need for connectivity is all pre-done and ready to go in the vehicle. So yes, you can buy it separately, or you can get the full system with all the harnessing ready to rock and roll all as a kit.
Okay, so we've arrived at the final stage of our conversation today. we've been focusing a lot on Jeeps, but as you notice, this is the Jeeps and trucks episodes. So when it comes to trucks, F-150s, Rams, and that type of stuff, again, we're kind of restricted with space. A popular go-to location is, of course, underneath the rear bench seat. So let's talk a little bit about enclosure solutions that Alpine offers for our truck customers.
Yeah, Ben, we actually have a truck enclosure solution that comes in two flavors. We have an S series subwoofer and an R series subwoofer. They come in the same enclosures, right? So there's two separate enclosures that are ported, right? They dig down and dirty. They're tuned to 36 hertz. They load those ports off the sidewall in the truck, and the woofers fire down. So these eights fire down, and they're expandable. These enclosures come on a rail system, so they can go from 40 inches wide out to 52 inches wide, so it can fit in a wide range of vehicles. So we just talked about Jeeps. If you close them all the way in, they fit great under the seat of a Gladiator, which is a Jeep, right? The Jeep truck. Or if you expand it out, it can fit in a larger full-size truck. And as you expand it out, there's a capability to add an integrated amp rack. So you can take and put in a mono amp or a 5-channel amp or maybe an Optum 8 to run a full system in your truck, and you have a nice location for that amplifier. And like you said, it's hard to find real estate in some trucks, so it's an easy spot to add on an amplifier and have great sound out of these woofers in your vehicle.
So not only is it cool that Alpine has solutions that have a variable size, this is great for inventory, guys, because this simple SKU will allow you to fit that into multiple different platforms that are coming into your shop. Let's break down a little bit further. You mentioned that these are available both in the S series and R series. So let's talk about a little bit about the performance differences and how they would differ, so that you can explain that to a customer.
So another great question, Ben. So S and R, they utilize a lot of similar technologies. They both have patented vented push-pull venting for keeping the voice coil nice and cool. They have a lot of similarities in the build quality and what goes into them, but the materials are a little different, right? So you go from a stamped basket to a cast aluminum basket. You go, from a certain material to an upgraded material in the S versus the R, which gives us more power handling, right? So more output. So while these enclosures are tuned to the same frequency range and they will play very similarly, we can actually get more power input into the R series, meaning more volume output out of them. So you can actually take advantage of that premium woofer in the R series to get more volume output out of them. Both sound great. Both are great solutions for different budgets, but we wanted to have both so that the customer that wants a higher performance could get it with the R series.
All right, Eric, we spent the time. We've talked about Alpine's involvement and support of the whole Jeep lifestyle. We've talked about the incredible all-in-one plug-and-play source unit solutions. We've even talked about, upgrading speakers and subwoofers, and even some great enclosure options for trucks. Your final word when it comes to Alpine for both the Jeep and the truck category.
Alpine makes some very unique solutions for Jeeps and trucks. We have products that are developed to work specifically in these environments to give the best performance, the most reliability, and the longest lasting product out there. So really, when we look at developing products specifically for an application, we want that to be the case. So that's what you'll find with Alpine in these categories.
That was Alpine's Eric Brooks joining us for a full sesh all about the Jeep and trucks accessories and products that Alpine has in store for you guys. If you're looking for more information, make sure you head on over to their website. We'll flash that on the screen right now. There you can find all the images, the details, the specs, and everything that Eric was talking about. And if you happen to be a Canadian dealer tuning in, then you need to know their official distribution partner in Canada is, of course, Gentech International. Make sure you hit up your Gentech rep to get more info and become the new Alpine dealer today. Now, my takeaway from this is pretty strong. It's a strong opinion because very few companies are invested to this level for a specific category. Hearing Eric talk about the insight that Alpine has because of the relationship with Jeep as a manufacturer, in my mind, no doubt gives this brand an advantage. They know exactly the space they're working with, the specification they're working with, so they could rely on that information, that data, to output aftermarket solutions that are optimized for said platforms. Not only that, man, if you've ever seen these things installed, the fit and finish is absolutely superb. In fact, to the one passing by, you may not even notice this is aftermarket because everything from the textures, the shapes, the bezels is absolutely top-notch factory style. And finally, the performance. When it comes to the subs, these are not like subwoofers that are created just for this enclosure. No, these are legit S and R series subs that you can get in the catalog, but they've built it into these really cool enclosures that you can adapt for just about any scenario when it comes to your Jeep or truck customer. That's it for this CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.